Good morning, good morning. How is everyone? Happy Monday. You guys ready to have a fantastic green day? I'm ready. Hope you're ready. So I've already taken a couple of trades actually using the session volume profile and anchored VWAP. That has just been fire. So took a trade here as it broke above that anchored VWAP from the high and targeted point of control. Got out there. Took a short here since it was continuing to reject value area high and broke below the anchored London VWAP. So took a short there and targeted value area low, which is pretty much exactly where it bounced. And then from there, once it bounced off value area low and got back above VWAP, which is this blue line right here, I ended up getting in long. So I'm actually in that position still, holding to value area high. So once we get closer to the New York Open, I'm going to tighten up my stop loss just in case we reverse. But using those anchored VWAPs and session volume profile has just been fire these last couple trades. So I did trade last night, the Asia session, like the open, kind of expecting some volatility with all the news about war and stuff this weekend. And definitely took some wrong trades. If you guys were on the live session, you saw, but I had 2 losses last night. So finished down about $400 in one of my accounts and locked that out with a small red day. But I had too much of a bearish bias, which obviously there was this giant gap down, so being bearish was right, but it bounced and longs were the play. So I took a couple shorts and took some losses last night. So ended up red last night, but green in some other accounts as of this morning with these 3 trades that I've taken. So lots of anchored VWAPs going on here, I know. Let me clean this up a little bit so we can take a look at what we have going on right now. Right now we're holding above Friday's point of control. We're above VWAP. So, I mean, if this trend continues, longs could be the play. We do have, I feel like if we're going to continue up, then 22,000 would be a good target. For one, it's a good psychological level. It's also, this gray shaded area is a really high volume node for the higher time frame volume profile. But also, if you look at the higher time frame, like the 1 hour, there's a pretty big fair gap value gap on this red candle right here. And the top of that fair value gap would be 22,009. So I feel like that could be a potential target if we continue up. And then having it be Monday and the fact that we're like holding above previous week's value area low, we could be continuing to trend higher. We're above Friday's point of control. We're above the previous week's value area low. So I'm currently in a position targeting value area high. But like I said, when we get closer to market open, I'm going to tighten up my stop loss in case things decide to go the other direction. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, G-Man. Yeah, I am in a trade. I don't know if you caught what I was saying from, I've been using the session volume profile for some 3 awesome trades. So this one here, I just removed my anchored VWAP, but I had an anchored VWAP at the previous high and it broke above that. So I got in a long and targeted point of control, got out there. And then on this next trade, we continued to reject value area high and then got below that London VWAP and we were holding below. So I took a short down to value area low, which was pretty much exactly the right spot. And then bounced off of value area low, got back above VWAP, got in a long, targeting value area high, but with the market open coming up, we'll see how far it goes. So this is the trade that I'm currently in. Let's see if it loads. So I had a loss, which is why it's currently down, but this is the trade that I'm in right now. Gonna tighten up my stop loss a little bit. That's 5 contracts. I have 4 at value area high and then leaving 1 runner to that 22,000 mark that I was talking about. So we'll see how the market opens. So the indicator that I use for value area low, value area high, I actually use the session volume profile. So session volume profile, custom up, custom down, that's the one that I have. So let me turn it on so you can see what it looks like, and I'll go back. I have it set for the New York session. So in my settings, I actually just adjusted this. I originally told you guys I had it set till 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, but I changed it to like actual market hours, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. So this is Central Time, 8:30 to 3 o'clock is what I have it set for. And then I just mark off the top of the 70% range is value area high, value area low, and then point of control. I just manually draw these lines. That way I can turn off the indicator and get it out of the way. Do I ever sleep? Good question. I haven't been sleeping very well lately. So if I'm like having trouble sleeping and it's 3 o'clock at night and I usually have alerts set. Like if it crosses VWAP or if it hits like a value area low or something like that, then I'll have an alert set. And I don't keep my phone near me in bed, so it's not like the alert will wake me up. But sometimes I don't sleep, so I'll open the charts and see if there's a trade to take. Good morning, Christine. Yeah, I'm with you, G-Man. Not sure what this market's going to bring today. Definitely was not expecting this big of a bounce. Like we had a huge gap down when we opened last night. I was kind of just expecting a little bit of a bounce and then further downside, which is why I was trading shorts and took a couple losses. But then it came all the way up and filled that gap, which was here at like 21,870, and then it just continued higher. So yeah, I'm with you, G-Man. Like, are we going to just continue higher? Or are we starting to get into that point where we're going to go lower? All right, market is open. Move this out of the way. Start to remove some of these anchored VWAPs. I don't need the London VWAP anymore. Tell me what you guys are thinking today. Was the overnight session the high? Did we reach the high point of the day? And we're going lower in the New York session? Or do you think we're going to continue higher? What are your thoughts? I'm curious. We got some aggressive selling at the open. This is the session VWAP right here. So still above that, but definitely some strong pressure.
Order filled.
Just closing out my limit orders here. So I'll be trading my top 1 futures accounts with you guys. Had a little loss last night, so hopefully I can recover that. So overnight, we were rejecting that value area high. We're now getting back below point of control with some aggressive selling. Definitely aggressive. Right at VWAP, getting below VWAP. Dang. Pretty wild. Definitely one of those days that you could just get in on a momentum move if you think it's going to dump all the way down. Coming down to value area low and London low, which is why I'm not quick to jump in on a short right now, because that definitely could provide some support and an area for a bounce. That is possible. But also don't want to try to catch a falling knife because this is really heavy. Anyone brave enough to jump into a short right now? Just ride the momentum? Anyone doing that? There's definitely room to the downside if that's what you want to do. All right, so we're right at the previous low from the London session. Doesn't look like any sort of bounce is coming. Definitely going to be patient on this and just wait for a pullback or something. So the next level really would be the Asia low. And then from there, previous day low. I mean, if it dumps all the way down there, sheesh. That's wild. All right, so we're getting a bounce at value area low. Let's see if we get some continuation of the upside or if we're just going to keep dumping to some of these next levels. Getting a little buy up off of it. But now we are still below VWAP. So, I mean, you can make a case for longs and shorts right now. Got a pretty good bounce off of value area low. So potential for a move back up, but also below VWAP and heavy selling pressure. So I wouldn't be ready to long until we get some confirmation for a reversal. Right now it looks like it might be a little bounce and possible rejection off of VWAP, but we'll see. Man, volatility is back. There were a couple days last week where it was moving like a turtle. The New York Open felt like the Asia session. Yep, grab that liquidity. That definitely could have been a good spot for a buy up. And honestly, that's my bread and butter play right there. I think I'm probably a little bit trigger shy right now just because of all the news and the volatility, and the 15-minute range has not been set yet. So just want to be careful since I am trading my sim funded accounts with Top One Futures, and I already am down about $230, I think is what it was. $280. So don't want to take an initial loss off the bat and then have my trading be done for the day. So going to be careful, going to be patient on these. Moves like that, I wish I was still a DGen. Yep. Seriously. I've gotten better at not having FOMO. Because, like, I know there's so much opportunity. Like, yeah, that was a great trade. I even talked about it out loud with you guys. Like, when we were up here, back here, I was saying, value area low, London low, that could be a good spot for a bounce. I said that, but I didn't get in. So, but I'm okay with that. Because there's definitely going to be another trade later that I feel more comfortable and more confident in. When I first started trading, I definitely would have FOMO on this move. And like, I might enter now and be like, I'm long now. And then my risk is all the way down here and just make stupid trades like that. So I've gotten better. Definitely willing to be patient and wait for the right setup that I'm super confident in. All right, let's start marking off these 15-minute lines. Back at that point of control. If we hold above that, then perhaps we'll get back up to London high, value area high, London high area. Value area high was definitely a spot of resistance overnight. So if we get back up there, it'll be interesting to see if we get some continuation past London high, or if that's going to be the high for the day and we're going to get some downside after that. We shall see. All right, tell me who's a DGen. Who's been taking trades so far with this crazy price action in the first 15 minutes? Don't be shy. Admit it. If you did take some trades, hopefully you're green. So we're coming right back up to the 15-minute opening range high. I haven't marked it off yet, but it's right there. We still have about 5 more minutes until the range is set. But that's the current high right there. Right at Friday's point of control. I really love session volume profile. This has been a nice little range from this overnight session. If I scroll to the left, this bottom line here is value area low, and this is value area high. It's kind of chopped around right in there. So it's pretty cool to see. Makes it easy to trade ranges if that's what you like to do. All right. So like Coach Set was saying, news coming up. I didn't mention that, but I did look at it before I signed on. So in 4 minutes, we have PMI, manufacturing PMI. And then 15 minutes after that, at 10 o'clock Eastern, we have existing home sales, which is a red folder news event. I find that one doesn't move the market as much, but PMI likely will. It's probably why price action has slowed down the last couple minutes, waiting for that news to come out in about 3 minutes. So if you guys are in a trade, definitely tighten up those stop losses. And if you're not in a trade, wait. That would be my suggestion. It's only 3 minutes from now. Just wait. Let's see what we're gonna get. It's definitely more exciting when there's movement like this, huh? There were a couple days last week where I was just sitting here like being put to sleep. It was like a lullaby. So we have this red folder news at 9:45 and 10 Eastern. And then we do have several Fed speakers too. I find that when Powell speaks, it usually pumps or dumps. Dumps is usually the case. When the Fed members speak, I find that it's usually choppy. Like there's not a whole lot of direction, but it makes it hard to trade because it gets really wicky and choppy. And those start at 10 o'clock Eastern is the first one. Trump meets with the national security team at 1 o'clock. And then pretty much all afternoon we have more speakers. So today would be a good day to get your trading done early and then just lock up your accounts and be done. So you don't have to deal with all that. G-Man, I didn't take a trade in the first 15 minutes. You'd be proud of me. Last time you came back and you're like, what? You're already in a trade? See? That's why I didn't want to get into a trade. We had news coming up. If you guys were in a trade, hopefully you had your stop losses set. And it hasn't even come out yet. We still have a couple more seconds until it's released. I wanted to take a trade, G-Man. It was hard. I had to practice self-control. There was that beautiful liquidity sweep. I even called it ahead of time. I was like, there's value area low and London low in the same area. It could bounce from there. But I didn't take it. Mostly because the 15-minute range had not been set yet. And we had this giant dump at market open, and I didn't want to be taking a long trying to catch the bottom of a big move like that. So, staying smart. No, I didn't hit my TP on the trade that I was in. I tightened up my stop loss when the market opened. So this was the trade that I was in, and I had my like full TP up at value area high. I never got there. So it was, where was it? It was somewhere in this range when the market opened, and I had my stop loss set at point of control. So got stopped out right there. It's all good. So now I'm down, I was down like $420 or so in my top one futures account. Now I'm down like 280. So try to find one good trade. Definitely be patient. So that news came out, didn't really do much, just kind of got wicky a little bit, but didn't really change the direction. It could be because we have another news release, US existing home sales in about 14 minutes. So it's possible that the market's waiting. So we do have our 15-minute opening range set. Right now it's kind of just chopping around that 15-minute opening range high. Wicking around a little bit. Starting to break above. So I'm curious to see if we continue higher. Like we could definitely take an opening range breakout right here. But I feel like there would be resistance at value area high and London high, which is only about 40 points away. So we could take a small little scalp if we get like a confirmation of the breakout and possibly a retest. That would be what I would want to see, just to show that I'm being patient and not like entering on FOMO. So right now we're getting a pretty good breakout with a little bit of momentum. If we get a retest, I'd be open to entering along here. It's burning up in New York City. I heard, I was on Luna's stream earlier and someone in Canada said it's like 100 degrees. And then you said it was like 95 over the weekend. It's pretty crazy. That's hot for Canada and New York City and all these places that aren't supposed to be that hot. It's pretty wild. All right, so we are getting a strong breakout above 15-minute opening range. I don't want to enter on FOMO, like I said, on a giant green candle like that. So if I'm going to take that trade, I would want to see it come back down, retest, and then go higher. Get a little bit of better risk to reward here. So something maybe like this, and then target London high. Put my stop loss right around point of control. That's what I'd be looking for. Let's see if it comes back down to my entry. And you wear a suit to work. Man, that'd be tough. That's one thing that I've always been thankful for. Like, before I started trading, I was a gym owner. I was a personal trainer, so like my uniform was workout clothes, tank tops, shorts, sweats. So yeah, I'm in Houston where it's hot, but I don't have to look like super nice and all dressed up, walking around in heels and a suit. I feel like it would be a miserable time to be like a salesman or something where you have to actually look professional and be outside in the heat. That does not sound fun. All right, starting to come back down to that 15-minute opening range high. Yep, coach said same thing. Looking for a little better entry, which it might come back to, because see all these this resistance here is right in line with that 15-minute opening range high. So I could see that being a spot for a retest. Gotta come back down to this area, right around 890. If we can get it a little bit lower, that's where I want to enter. Yep, same thing, G-Man. Since I'm already starting off this one red, I definitely want to be patient with the right trade. So we'll see if it hits that 890, which is right around where the top of the range is. And then also I want to confirm that it's not going to get heavy and close back below. All right, I'm gonna enter there and then just put my stop right below that range. Since we have that support. And then we have the overnight high up at 945. Let's see what Bookmap shows. $9.45, we do have 35 orders there. $9.50, we have 20. So that is a potential good spot for a take profit. Let's see if it runs those highs. We do still have that area up at 22,000 that I like. I'm going to take 2 off there and leave a runner, see how it reacts at that level. What was my entry? 909.25. Let me update that since I didn't get the full entry down there. What was it? I already forgot. 909.25. And then stop loss I put right here at the low, the 15-minute opening range high. So only 3 contracts on this position. Keeping it small for now, just so I can get my account back green and get a little bit of confidence back. Selling 2 of them at the London high, and then leaving 1 runner for up to 22,000, which is the fill of that fair value gap from Thursday, I think it was. Coach, Set, did you end up getting in off of the 15-minute opening range breakout? Or were you waiting for that full retest of 890 at the high? Quant is telling you to get in at the bottom of the opening range, like the 15-minute opening range low, down at 759. Is that what you're talking about? That opening volatility is definitely slowing down a bit already. We do have US existing home sales in 4 minutes, which I know is a red folder news event, but in my experience, it doesn't impact NASDAQ that much. We might get a little volatility, but it's not like CPI or something like that. Starting to come back down a little bit. So this blue line right there is the 15-minute opening range high. So as long as it stays above that, I feel pretty good about it. And I wonder if we're going to get a little more volatility once that news release is out in another 2 minutes. Now we're starting to get a little bit of movement. We got a couple people in here. Anyone else taking a trade so far? Anyone doing the 15-minute opening range breakout? Or is anyone shorting? Anyone fading me? Don't tell me that if you are. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to hear that. Let's go, let's go. Got my first TP set up here at the overnight high, London high. And then gonna leave a little Hail Mary runner to see how far this baby goes. Alexis is long with us. Woohoo, let's go. Oh, yeah. We're moving. My baby position. 1 contract left. Let's see what we're going to get out of it. Come on, baby contract. Move my stop loss up a little bit. How far are we going to go? All right, stopped out. Did not make it all the way up to 20,000, at least right now. Got a pretty good pullback. But let's see if we get some continuation higher. So it did grab that overnight liquidity. Had a decent rejection. But let's be patient and see where it brings us now. G-Man, I don't think you should be complaining about that. Oh, your personal daily profit target was at 220. I thought you meant like your limit order was at 220. Oh, well now you just messed up your consistency. Gonna have to keep trading. All right. We're back. I feel a little bit better about just being down $100 now. Don't have to be quite as careful as I was before. Like, obviously still want to be patient, but don't have to be as nervous. Definitely hugged my stop loss a little bit too tight because it looks like we are going to get some continuation here. So what I'm watching for now is if this was just going to be a liquidity grab and then we are going to get a rejection, we could look for shorts. Or if we get continuation higher, we could possibly find an entry for a long. And then I'd also like to watch for when it hits 22,000, see how it reacts at that level. Because that would be the fair value gap fill that I was talking about on the 1 hour time frame. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for now. Is a possible sell-off from this high, or if we're getting continuation, find a spot to get long. Aw, well thanks, Alexis. What eval are you doing right now? Just so I know like what rules you're working with. So still kind of stuck at this overnight high. Not sure if we're going to get like a breakout retest continuation higher or if this is going to end up being a rejection. That's kind of what I'm waiting for. Take profit. Okay, so if you're in the eval stage right now, you have end of day drawdown, which is good. If you end up passing it and you get to the stage where you have intraday trailing drawdown, trading would be a little bit different. This style of trading that I use, where I wait for the bigger move and I leave my stop loss lower to like give myself room for the trade to play out, is not great for intraday trailing drawdown. Because there are times where I have high unrealized profit and then it comes back down and it hits my stop loss, and that can blow an account if you're in intraday, which is frustrating for me in my style of trade. I don't like trading with those types of prop firms because I can still be green. Like I can finish the day green, but blow an intraday trailing drawdown prop firm, which is frustrating. So it looks like it was a continuation, broke out above London high, had a little retest and continuation higher. So that could have been a long, if anyone was brave enough, that breakout retest continuation. But I didn't want to push it and be over trading. There really weren't enough confluences for it for me. So next level I'd be looking at is 22,000. Like I was saying when I first got on this stream, that's a big psychological level. A lot of times there is a reaction at round numbers like that. But also, zooming out to the 1 hour time frame, that giant red candle right there left a fair value gap, and the top of that is right at like 22,010. So I'd be interested to see how it reacts at that level, see if we get some sort of rejection. That's the next move I'm waiting for. Man, I am honestly really surprised at this big move up. What the heck is this? Like, I'll fully admit and be totally transparent that I don't a lot of times understand how the news is actually going to affect the markets, but I thought that news about war, would negatively impact the markets. Apparently not. Something's going on that's making it move. Yeah, Alexis, good question. I'm curious too. Do you have any sort of strategy that you're following? Like, do you do the 15-minute opening range breakout, initial balance, VWAP? Like, what are some of the strategies that you've been researching and trying to learn? Well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. But seriously, like, yeah, I'm glad that I can help you. I'm glad that you can, like, come on and make money with me. But it's best for you to actually learn. Like, when I first started my trading, I kind of looked for that. Like, I joined groups that had signals and they would, like, you could copy trade them. And I still ended up losing money just because I didn't learn the strategy. So if you can, I think the best case scenario would be for you to, like, learn a strategy and kind of mark your own charts and then just watch someone like me to have confluence. Like, if you're already thinking that you're going to take a long here and then I'm also talking about taking a long, then that can maybe just give you confidence that you're possibly taking the right trade. But you're not going to learn how to, like, make long-term profits if you're always copying someone. That's just my advice. All right, so still kind of waiting for that 22,000-ish level. See if we get any sort of rejection from there. Or if we're going to get like a pullback and continuation higher. So that's what I'm waiting for at this point. It's starting to get a little bit heavy at this point. Alexis, G-Man actually just reminded me, yeah, I can bring you into the Discord if you're interested. I put the link in the chat. I have a women's only Discord that I run with a couple other friends. And most of the ladies in there are just learning. Like some of them are taking payouts, but nothing like extravagant. And then there's a lot of women who have not taken payouts and they're still just learning. So it might be a good spot for you. If you're interested, come join us. Coach set is short. Let's go. It is getting heavy. I'm with you. I feel like shorts are the play too. I just wanted it to come up a little bit higher. I was looking for that 22,000 level. Although it came right below that, so I probably could have gotten in short. I'm going to go ahead and mark the initial balance high that we're, as of now, we still have about 17, 18 minutes until it's actually set. Yeah, Alexis, everyone has a different trading style. I personally don't like scalping for 10 points because I feel like to actually make decent money with it, you either need to size up a lot or take a lot of trades. Because, I mean, everyone has different goals, but I want to make more than $100 a day, you know? So my trading style, I like to wait for like big levels or something that is going to hopefully run. It doesn't work in a trending market like this where it's just trending up all day or trending down all day. Going for larger trades is definitely the way to go for me, if it's my trading style. When we're in a choppy market though, you definitely want to go for those base hit scalps. Yep, everyone trades differently. G-Man likes the base hits. So it depends on the trade. I'll definitely scale in and out of positions too. So I'll usually scale out so at least I can realize some profits, and then I'll leave a runner for a bigger move. Kind of like I just did on this opening range breakout. I took most of my position off at London High and then left one runner to go higher and ended up getting stopped out on that one. So I took most of the profits as a base hit, I guess you could call it. Uh-oh, Coach Set, you said you were short. Did you take your profits yet? Or is it coming back up and you're going to get stopped out? Christine said, I hear the Discord's pretty awesome. Why is it so awesome, Christine? Because we're a bunch of cool ladies helping each other out? No, it's honestly, it's a lot of fun being in a women's only Discord. We can talk about stuff that wouldn't be allowed in a men's group. We have fun in there. All right, so coming back up to the highs for the day. Still have about 15 minutes until the initial balance is set. Like I was saying, I'd like to see it come up to 22,000-ish, a little bit higher, fill that fair value gap, and then just dump. And we can take a move, a failed auction. That would be the sweet setup right there. Like if this ends up being the initial balance high, and then it comes back up, fills that fair value gap that I was talking about, and then dumps, I would be in that short if that happens. All day. It's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm going to leave that little orange squiggly line so I can see if it happens. There you go, coach set. Just a little scalp. Yeah, when you're trading against the trend like that, you definitely want to take the smaller move. Get in, get out quick. That's how I like to do it. I guess I can take off this green view up now. That was from the previous high a day. That's not valid anymore. So now we have this blue one is the session view up. We have the New York anchored view up. And then once we get a little bit more price action, I'll probably put one at the high of day. But let's see where this kind of plays out. We got 13 minutes. Let's see how this initial balance plays out. Who's ready for a possible failed auction? Y'all ready? We gotta be patient though. We gotta wait for it. What do we have on Bookmap? Let's see. Haven't really been looking at it. We have 55 orders at 22,000. Looks like it's grabbing those right now, actually. Now that we speak about it. We have a little bit more up higher at like 2212. So I always talk about those like fake orders that mess me up and I need to get better at ignoring. Down at 21,725, there's 308 orders. Where is that? That's like all the way down here at like Asia low almost. Can you imagine that? Oh my gosh, let's see. Where are we at right now? We're at 22,000. Coming all the way down to 725 if we were to grab those orders. That would be a 276 point move. We do have a bunch of Fed speakers coming later. So who knows? Maybe they're going to say something super terrible and just make the market dump. Y'all want to be in that trade? Oh man. Yeah, G-Man, hit that like button. I would appreciate it, you guys. It actually helps a lot since I'm kind of a new channel, just starting, putting out videos and stuff, just starting my content creation. One little like actually helps a lot. So I would appreciate it if you guys don't mind. And we're 1 for 1 so far today. Took one trade, got a little win. What was that, a 35-point win? Not bad. And I can just feel a failed auction setting up here. I feel it coming. We got 10 minutes. We're going to find a good trade on this. What made me decide to be a streamer? So I started posting my trade recaps on YouTube because I was challenged to do it from a boot camp that I went to in Florida, trading boot camp, day trading boot camp. Someone recommended doing it, kind of like just journaling my trades, but doing it on video. And really it was helping me more than anything, because I was able to like talk through why I took a trade and be able to verbalize like, I didn't have a reason why I took this trade. That was a dumb trade. I need to start eliminating those. So it was really helping me, and the quality was terrible. I wasn't even trying hard in terms of that. But I started to have people subscribe and like say, that's helping me so much. I'm learning a lot. And it kind of just motivated me to like take the next step. And also a little bit of accountability too. I think I actually am trading better when I stream live, because there's the added pressure of people like potentially following me and watching me. So it makes me be more patient and wait for good setups and not take those degen trades that sometimes I take when I'm by myself at my computer, you know? So that's why. And we'll see what comes of it. I don't know. I could see where, a couple years down the road or whatever, possibly turning this thing into where like I'm coaching other people to be profitable traders too. Because coaching is kind of my background. That's what I've done for the last 20 years, whether it was nutrition coaching or personal training or whatever. And now being a mom, I feel like that's a coach of some sort. I love educating people and helping people like achieve their best self, whatever that looks like. I've also been a business mentor. So I find that when I'm live streaming, it actually kind of brings that out of me. And it's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So it's starting to get heavy. It did fill that fair value gap. Like 22,010 was pretty much exactly the fair value gap from that 1 hour candle that I showed you when we zoomed out. And we're getting a rejection from there. So we could take a short, possibly. But since we have the initial balance being set in another 7 minutes, there is a possibility that we'll come back up, retest it, and then come down. And we could retest a little bit outside of the initial balance and have it be an actual failed auction. So that's why I'm not taking a short here, because if I did, I would put my stop loss above that previous wick high. And I don't want it to come up and like stop us out. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to adjust my orange line here a little bit now that the initial balance high has changed. And I'm thinking maybe it'll come up, failed auction, and then dump lower. That is what I'm waiting for. We got about 6 more minutes until the initial balance is set. Well, good, G-Man. I'm glad they were helpful to you. I know, like I said, it helped me more than anything. I'm not doing them as often on a daily basis now, since most of my trades are live here. But I do still do them sometimes, especially if there was a specific strategy that I used, like anchored VWAP or failed auction or something like that. That would be a good example to share and hopefully help people. So failed auction, I actually do have a video for it. I'll explain it for sure, but I'm gonna go find the video real quick. So you can get a better understanding of it. But failed auctions are definitely one of my favorite setups. So Alexis, that link that I just posted is a little video that I posted about what a failed auction is. But basically, the 60-minute initial balance is the range of the first 60 minutes of trading. So we still have about 4 minutes left. But as of now, this is the initial balance high, and then the initial balance low is actually the same as the 15-minute opening range low. So I'll change this to 60-minute initial balance low. So this whole range from here down to here is the first 60 minutes of price action. And a lot of times, this will serve as support and resistance for the trading session. So it's very similar to like if you're familiar with a 15-minute opening range breakout or a 15-minute opening range. It can either break out of this initial balance high and retest and continue, so it could be a trend continuation, or a failed auction would be if it breaks above the initial balance high, or if you're shorting, it could break below the initial balance low and kind of be a fake out and then close back within the range. So if it kind of just like wicks out real quick and then closes back below, that would be a failed auction. And in that case, a lot of times you can target either the other end of the range, which is usually a home run trade. I don't try to take the whole move lower, or a lot of people say the midpoint of the range. So somewhere around here could be a target. You could even target like anchored VWAP. There's a couple different options. But if that were the case, which it looks like we're getting it right now, you could kind of scale out of your position. Well, dang, that sucks. It didn't end up coming back up yet. Gonna stay patient though. I don't want to enter on FOMO feeling like I missed out on the position, because it could still come back up and retest this initial balance high before coming lower. I hope it does, because I sat here and waited for it. Let's see if my little orange drawing plays out. Is it gonna work? Come on. How many setups do you have, and do you journal? I do. So setups, I use the 15-minute opening range, 60-minute initial balance, and then I guess you could say levels in general is a strategy. So I'll mark support and resistance levels and trade liquidity grabs. And then I do use VWAP as well. I wouldn't say that's a setup necessarily. It's just a confluence that I use to add to some of the other setups. So 3 plus or minus, depending on if you want to say VWAP is separate from the others. Luna, what's up? What's up? Are you trying to come copy me? Just kidding. So kind of, I was expecting 22,000 to hit. It was actually a fair value gap fill. Talking, words are hard right now. That was a level that I was talking about way back here, like an hour, 30 minutes ago. So it hit that level and it rejected, but the initial balance hadn't been set yet. So I didn't enter. Now I'm hoping it'll come back up to initial balance and then reject, because I don't want to enter now and kind of have FOMO. But I do have FOMO. What would that be? I don't like that stop loss. That'd be like 36 points. I would have to size down a lot. But the upside is big. It could potentially go back down to like 15-minute opening range low or high, something like that. That'd be a big move. Let's see if we get a retest. Tell me to wait, you guys. Tell me not to do it. I want to get in short. See, Alexis, this is what I'm talking about with why I like to stream and having that extra accountability. If I was trading by myself, I probably would have entered short, like way down here. But I do feel like there's still a chance that it'll come back up, possibly fake out above initial balance low, and then come back down. And if that's the case, that's a big, like that's a 30-point stop loss, only for it to continue lower. And that would just make me go on tilt because I'd be mad. Ha, mama, what's up? Short from point of control, not a good idea. Oh, like the current session? Yep. You're right. I'll be patient. I'll wait. What I want to see you do is come back up, failed action, and then dump. That's what I want. I'm going to wait for it. Or at least wait for the reaction at initial balance high. If we get some strong selling pressure from here, that's what I want. Paper accounts, you didn't have patience? Yeah. That's why, honestly, I don't like paper accounts. Like if you're brand new and you have zero idea what you're doing and you're kind of just practicing like how the sizing works and what the risk is per contract and how to like enter limit orders, how to enter stop losses, you're kind of just practicing with a prop firm or like how it would work with a prop firm, then yeah, use a paper account. But if you're actually trying to like learn a strategy, I personally don't think paper accounts are the way to go because then you don't have any of the emotional buy-in. And anyone who's traded a while knows that that's the real thing. It's not your strategy. It's you. It's me. My strategy is not the problem. I'm the problem. And I'm not going to learn that if I don't have any like financial buy-in. So even if you just buy a cheap eval, like you can buy some for like Apex is $19 when they're on sale. Top Step is like $49. There's a bunch of evals you can buy for cheap. So you're not going to like totally break the bank, but mentally you'll have a little bit of buy-in so that you have to be more careful with your trades and patient. Kind of hovering around that point of control. Got lots of volume in this area so far. Looks like it might be holding as support for now, so hopefully we get a little bounce, rejection from initial balance, and then we short that bad boy. That's my plan. Is it gonna go higher or is it gonna dump from here? What's it gonna be? I'm not in a short right now, kind of just playing around with the risk to reward. My orange drawing is what I would like to see happen. I would like to see it come back up a little above initial balance high so we can get that failed auction before we reject. Definitely a spot where people are probably getting chopped out. So hopefully you guys are not in it right now and you're staying patient. So I'm not going to enter anything right here. What I would be looking for in terms of scenarios is if we go up and we get a failed auction, I'd be looking for shorts. If we do dump from here, I'm not going to enter. I'm not going to enter late just because the risk to reward would not be good and I don't want to get chopped out. We could possibly have it come down to VWAP and then higher. If we miss a failed auction, that would kind of be what I'm looking for. But that would be plan B. Let's wait and see what we get. Let's put an anchored VWAP at the high for today. Make that green. So we are holding below that, but we're also kind of just chopping. So doesn't mean that we're going to dump from here yet. Trading floor 29. No, I don't really look at Wyckoff patterns. Fibonacci, Wyckoff, all that stuff. I never really got into that. Head and shoulders. I feel like a lot of those things where you're kind of looking for patterns. I know Fibonacci is not a pattern, but Wyckoff, head and shoulders, that kind of stuff. It's too subjective to me. I know people have success with it, so I'm not knocking that strategy at all, but I almost feel like it's like, when you were a kid, did you ever look at the clouds in the sky and make out different shapes? Oh, I see a giraffe, I see a boat, those kind of things. I feel like that's what pattern recognition is to me, head and shoulders, stuff like that. My eyes kind of just start to make it up because I want to take a trade. So I don't follow pattern type of stuff. Doesn't work for me. Yeah, coach said, like I was saying, this is definitely a spot where you can get chopped out. So, I could have had FOMO when I said that, this is the level I'm watching for, and then it started to have a strong sell-off. I could have entered short, and then started to get a little bit tilted when it started to come back up, and I'm like, oh no, maybe it's going to come back up to initial balance high, so then I get stopped out. And then if it breaks above this anchored VWAP, then we could go long, and then it's going to reject from initial balance high, and you get stopped out there. This is definitely for me a no trade zone. I want to wait until it comes back up to initial balance high, see how it reacts here, see if we're going to get a failed auction or if we're going to get a breakout trend continuation. Or if we do dump from here and I do miss this move down, it's okay. Maybe we can take a bounce off of VWAP. So, yeah, this This chop right here, that's gross. Hopefully you guys are not getting stuck in this. Don't do it. We are getting a nice little price pinch right here. I could definitely see it coming up to initial balance high. It's just a matter of what happens there. Is it going to reject? And then we're looking for shorts? Or is it going to be a continuation higher? That's what I'm waiting on. So if we get a breakout and we hold above, then we could go higher. So let's see how it reacts at that initial balance. Staying patient, staying patient. I'm still down, what was it, $100 or something in my account? Because I took a loss last night. Kind of stupid with the Sunday night open. Had way too much of a bearish bias, so kept trying to short when, for whatever reason, we had a giant bounce last night. So finished last night down like $400. Had a little win this morning to get back up. So I'm down 105 in this account. So staying patient to find one more good trade so I can finish green. Coming back up to initial balance high. What's it gonna be? What do you think, chat? What's your vote? Failed action? Are we gonna dump? Are we gonna hit initial balance high and reject? Or are we gonna break out and get a trend continuation? I wanna hear your vote. Is it gonna be the orange pill? Or is it gonna be the red pill? What do you think? Are you guys team orange or team red? Shez Magej is team orange. Your name is just fun to say. Shez Magez. He said YM is dumping. They don't always move super together like ES does. What is ES doing? Here is the 60-minute initial balance high for ES. So it's starting to make its way up there too. ES has a little more room to run than NQ does though. All right, so we are at initial balance high. I'm gonna move these lines out of the way so we can see what price actually does. Starting to get some selling. So don't want to take a short just off of one little 1 minute candle wick. If I'm going to be shorting this initial balance, I want to get some confirmation here. It's also something that we can kind of scale into. That's a strategy. That way you don't miss out on the move if you do think it's going to go lower, but you don't have confirmation yet. Like we haven't gotten a candle closure. So that's a possibility. Definitely not getting strong selling pressure yet though. Starting to hold back below. All right, I'm going to enter 3 contracts short just as a feeler position. If we start to get confirmation that we're gonna sell off more, I might add. Starting to get heavy here. So 997.50 was where I entered. 997.50, put my stop loss at that wick high. So what I would be looking for if I want to add to the position is a confirmation like that we're making a lower low, so maybe break below 970. Let me delete these. So if I'm going to add, I don't necessarily want to right now because then it's going to move my position lower and my stop loss will be still up there. And I don't want that. So if I'm going to add, I would want to see it like break below those lows, make new lows, come back up possibly and retest, make a new lower high and then back down. And I would maybe enter somewhere around here just so the average of my position is not too low. And then I could move my stop loss lower to keep my risk low. So if I'm going to add to my position, that's kind of what I would do. Because I'm only in 3 contracts right now. Since that kind of happened quick, I didn't want to jump in and risk too much. So as of now, just in 3 contracts. If it breaks below 969-ish, and then maybe gets a little bit of a retest and retrace lower, or continuation lower, then I can add to my position. Because I do feel like there is a chance that this could go quite a bit lower. This line right here is the 15-minute opening range high, I think. Right around 886, yep. So that would be a good target, is right around the initial 15-minute opening range high. And I'm not afraid to try these failed auctions more than once too. I'm okay with trying if I feel like it's a good idea and I'm following my rules and I have all the confluences and I feel like it's a good trade. I'm okay with trying the same idea twice. If I take 2 losses, then I throw the idea away and I look for new information. But with something like a failed auction, it definitely could come up and retest that initial balance high a couple times. So there is a chance that it could come up and stop us out before the actual move lower. So that's a possibility. That's kind of why I took a small position, just in case. Because technically, a failed auction, if you want to like go by the book, it's not a wick on the 1 minute chart, which is where we are. You're supposed to wait for a 30-minute closure, which we still have almost 8 minutes left on that candle. But I don't like to wait for the 30-minute closure, because then, I mean, you could miss the whole move. 8 minutes from now, we could be, 100 points down. So I like to anticipate the failed auctions, which means sometimes I get in too early and sometimes I'm wrong. And that's okay. Take a little paper cut and then be right on the next one. So I'd be kind of looking for, like I said, around 969 if we make a new low. And if we get closer to the time of that 30-minute candle closure, so right at about 11 o'clock Eastern, if we're definitely closing below the initial balance high at that point, then I'll look for an opportunity to add to my position. Tesla's 10% higher today. 10% move higher today. That's wild. I wonder if they had some sort of announcement. Financial Juice, I don't know if you guys are watching it. It came up about 20 minutes ago. It says, the war could last 2 years and we are prepared for that. An Iranian official said that. Not good. If you guys are the praying type, pray for our country. Pray for our world, honestly. Lots of stuff going on. All right, so it looks like we are getting a failed auction as we get closer to that 30-minute candle closure. We have about 5 minutes left until the official close of the 30-minute candle. We have initial balance sitting up here at 22,011. I'll draw a line so that we can see if we're actually confirming the close below, which it looks like we are. All right, so like I was saying, I wanted to wait for it to get below 970-ish, showing that we're getting a new lower low. And then a possible retrace so that we can get a better average on our entry and then add to my position. But if we're just going to dump from here, then I'm not going to add, because that's going to make my average too low and have it be too much risk. I don't want to do that. So I would wait for a retrace before adding to my position, so I have a better place to put my stop loss and keep my risk low. I would love to add to this position though. Man, it is heavy now. All right, chat, tell me who is in this failed action trade with me. Let's go. Who got in? I want to hear it. Tell me in the chat. Who's in it? Who's in it? God, I love failed auction trades. This is so perfect. I feel good about the fact that I waited too. Like right here in this area, I had so much FOMO. I'm like, dang, I'm gonna miss it. But I waited. It came back up to initial balance high. And you guys think about it too. If I had entered here, if I had entered there, I would have put my stop loss above that previous wick high and I would have gotten stopped out, right? So patience paid today. Oh, Christine, you cracked me up. All right, so we got heavy. If we can get a little bit of a pullback up before continuation lower, man, I want to add to this. I do, so bad. But I don't want to add here because then it's going to make my average so much lower, and I don't want to do that. All right. Kind of what I'm waiting for is possibly a little bounce. Let's see how heavy it gets though. Right now, I have this take profit set at the 15-minute opening range high. But, I mean, honestly, I don't want to like set my TP for a home run trade and just hold the whole position. But if it gets dumpy, there's a possibility it could come down to the initial balance low. I have a consistency target, like a personal daily profit target, where it's going to lock me out on this account at $900. So my position wouldn't even go all the way down there anyway. Since I'm negative 100, I can make up to like $1,000 on this trade to lock me out at 900. So we'll see how far it goes. I like to scale out of my positions though. Even if I was to hold this for lower than the 15-minute opening range high, I would probably scale out there and then hold a runner for the initial balance low. All right, so this is an official failed auction. I think it was Alexis who was asking about it. It's technically supposed to be on the 30-minute time frame. So if you have a candle, a 30-minute candle that wicks outside of the initial balance range and then closes back below or inside, like this candle right here did, that is a failed auction. We just got in up here because we were anticipating it. If we had waited for the full 30-minute candle closure, we would have had to get in way down here at 9:54, which is not great risk to reward. So if you study the initial balance failed auction strategy, you definitely want to learn how to anticipate it and get in a little bit earlier than the 30-minute candle closure. All right, I'm gonna delete this London high level since that's not really valid or relevant anymore. I'll delete my little red squiggly line. So this is an anchored VWAP at the high of the day. There's a possibility that it could come up and retest that and then reject, and that would be a good spot to add. Because then I could move my stop loss down lower and keep my risk low. And that would be ideal. It's kind of what I'm looking to do. Let me add the anchored VWAP to this. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. So kind of sitting right at that anchored VWAP. Let's see if it actually rejects from here. No, starting to break through it a little bit. That's not what I want to see. So I'm going to move my stop loss down. Just because if it does continue higher, I don't want to be in it. I could be wrong. Looks like we are going to get stopped out. But like I said, not afraid to enter a couple times on the same idea. If this does come back higher, which it kind of looks like it might stop me out. It could come back up to initial balance high and reject again. So not afraid to re-enter the same idea. Let's see where this is going. Kind of playing around right at my stop loss right now. All right, got stopped out. So like I said, not afraid to re-enter the same idea twice. The initial balance high is right here at 22.11. So let's see if we come back up to it and get a rejection again. Possibly another failed auction. We could also play around with, I like using anchored VWAPs to kind of see where the momentum is. So put one at this previous low. Just kind of see if sellers regain control if it breaks below that. But right now it looks like it might want to head back up to initial balance high. And we'll see what we get. If there's going to be a continuation, breakout, continuation, or if we get another rejection. All right, going back to my trading view. So I'm gonna move this over since that one was a break even. Same idea as before. So looking for a possible failed auction again, if this is gonna be today's resistance. Or if we retest initial balance high again, and this time it's a breakout continuation, I'd be looking for a target up to like 2250 or so, something like that. So kind of just going to see what happens up at initial balance high again. I'm leaning towards another failed auction just because buyers are not really taking control. There's no continuation to the upside. And I wonder if buyers are starting to get tired and sellers are just going to take control. Kind of what I'm leaning towards, but also want to react to price. Move my little squiggly line so we can see what actually happens. You hope the buyers are tired too. Yeah. I don't know, it kind of looks like it. Like they keep coming up to initial balance high and then rejecting. Initial balance high, a bigger rejection. It's like every time they get a little weaker, but that could just be me with a short bias. So I'm trying to just wait and react to price and not enter because I want to go short, you know? $22, 120 swing high. Yeah, and that's previous week's value area high, previous day high, definitely there. So that could be a target if we get the breakout continuation higher. You're absolutely right. So we could even extend this yellow line out a little bit and target like up there. So just want to see how it reacts up here at initial balance high. If we're actually going to break out and hold above it, that could be a good trade, good target. I agree. Or if we get a strong rejection, we could be going lower. While we're waiting for price to get back up to initial balance high and react, if you guys haven't already, go like the stream. I would appreciate it. Go hit the thumbs up button. If you don't mind. we're kind of getting into that point of the day where we have those Fed speakers. So Trump has a meeting with the national security team in about 2 hours. And then Fed Goolsbee speaks, Fed Williams speaks, and then Kugler. So no like big names that I'm aware of, but there always could be some sort of announcement during that time that sends price in some crazy direction. Not quite making it up to initial balance high yet. Let's see what the risk to reward would be if we did enter short here. Put the stop loss above that wick high. It's like 27 points. Not terrible, especially if I feel like it is going to get as heavy as I'm hoping. The risk to reward on that is good if we target the initial balance or the 15-minute opening range high. Starting to get a little bounce. Let's see if we make it up to that initial balance high. Yeah, you're right, huh, Mama? It was in profit. I didn't scale out because it didn't really hit any of the targets that I wanted it to hit. If I was going to scale out in that previous short that I was in, I would have wanted to come back down to New York VWAP as one target and then maybe like 15-minute opening range high. I think I was expecting it to get a little bit heavier and continue lower. So I got out at break even. I think I had my stop loss at like 20 points in profit or $20 in profit, something like that. So yeah, I definitely could have. Possibly being greedy, waiting for the bigger move, honestly. That could be it. Beverly, don't do it. Take a deep breath, walk away, take a break. So tell me this, Beverly. I'm glad you mentioned that because now we can stop you from revenge trading. Don't do it. Are you at, like if you were to follow your trading plan, are you at your daily loss limit? Like, do you need to stop today? Or do you still have room in your daily loss limit range to take another trade? Do you have room for another trade or do you need to stop? Kind of hovering around that initial balance high. Not getting a strong move in either direction at this point. I'm leaning towards short, but I don't want to get in just on a bias that I have. Some sort of confirmation would be good. Bookmap does show quite a few orders to the upside. Well, Beverly, listen to yourself. Like, do you think, I mean, you still have another good trade if you're like blowing your account at 2,000, so you still have $400 left. If you feel like you can settle yourself and be patient and wait for a good trade and size appropriately, don't try to make it all back in one trade because then you're just going to blow it easily. If you feel like you can be patient and wait for a good setup, then do it. If you feel like you're totally gonna blow it and just revenge trade over size, I would say close your computer and come back tomorrow with a fresh set of eyes. And if you feel like option 2 is the thing for you that you need to walk away, then lock your account. Because if you're anything like me, when I feel like you're describing right now, I'll walk away and then I'll come back and still trade. So when you're in your right mind, if you make the decision to walk away, lock yourself out. Ha mama, it's an uptrend, so why short? I'm not short yet. I did take a short here, got out at break even because it was a failed auction, rejection of that initial balance high. And a lot of times the initial balance high serves as resistance. So if we come back up here and have a strong rejection again, then I would take another short. But if we break out, retest and continue higher, then I'm not opposed to a long. So right now I'm just being patient, waiting to see how we reject at initial balance high, or react, not reject, react at initial balance high. And yeah, it has been an uptrend, honestly, all day. We had a little wick down at the New York Open, but since 6:44, 7 o'clock this morning, the trend has been up. We're hitting a lot of resistance up here though. This 22,000 level is a big level of resistance. There you go, Beverly. Walk away, come back tomorrow or another day, whenever you have a little bit more bandwidth to be patient. Lock your account. Lock it, lock it. Could you possibly set ultra low latency for YouTube streaming? Yeah, I can look into that setting. I might have to make some changes and do it for tomorrow. I don't think I can change it midstream. Let me move these drawings out of the way so we can see what actual price is doing. But those are kind of my scenarios. Wait and see how we react at this initial balance high. But to me, it looks like down is the play. I'm going to insert a short We didn't get quite back up to initial balance high, but we are starting to reject, and short is kind of what I was leaning towards. I am going to put my stop loss up at this previous wick high, and we'll see how heavy we start to get. I might add to this position. Kadir entered. Let's go. All right, added a little bit to the position. It really just feels like it's getting heavy. Continuing to reject this initial balance high. Sellers are starting to bring it a little bit lower each time. And let's see if we can get back down to this 15-minute opening range high, perhaps. I'll probably scale out a little bit before then. Come on, let's get some continuation down. Continue down. All right, Beverly. If you blew that account and you have a different account, maybe lock the other one so that you don't blow that one too. You can come back another day with a fresh set of eyes, fresh mindset. Don't let it spiral. It's just gonna sit here, huh? It's not gonna move for me. Come on, let's move. Go down, go down. You can just feel that lunch hour volume starting to show up. It wants to dump. It wants to go. I feel it. Come on, just do it already. Do it. It's going up. Beverly, don't say that to me. Don't say that. No. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I think it's going down. It's going to continue down. Do it for me. Come on. $982.75 is where I actually entered. So let me put that on here. And yes, you guys are absolutely right. We're above the value areas from Friday. We're above VWAP. Definitely trading against the trend. Initial balance failed auctions are one of my favorite setups. So I took an initial short here. I could keep that drawing. So I took a short right about here. I had that there. I was targeting around here. This one I got stopped out at break even. But because it made a lower low, came back up and kind of tried to retest initial balance high again, but didn't get there, and it's starting to show weak price action, I felt like we were going to go lower. And it might not be a home run move. This might just be a pullback to VWAP and then continue higher for a bigger move up. I totally agree with you. So we might not get down to the 15-minute opening range high. We might just get down to VWAP, perhaps. But you never know. We could dump lower. Initial balance failed auctions. A lot of times the target is half of the initial balance range. And on occasion, it actually dumps all the way to the other end of the range, or pumps, I guess, if you're taking a long from the bottom of the initial balance. And we have a huge range today. What is it? 250 points. So if we were targeting half of the initial balance range, it would be like 125, which is right at the initial balance opening range high. So that is why I'm targeting that. That is my plan. And I'm sticking to it. Oh my goodness, everyone in the chat says long. What are you doing? What are you doing to me? Don't give me those vibes of long. Give me short vibes. I want short vibes. This is starting to get dumpy. I don't know about longs, y'all. This looks pretty dumpy. All right, where is VWAP? VWAP is right here at 933. Are we just gonna blast right through it? Or are we gonna get a bounce? I'm gonna take a little bit of profit there. Took off 2 contracts, and I'm gonna move my stop loss to break even, because that's a pretty decent bounce at VWAP. Oh, I wanted continuation lower. Are you gonna give it to me? Are you gonna give it to me? I did, huh, Mama? I did. I know. Sometimes I get a little bit too greedy and I'm like, I want to hold it for the whole move. So I took some out on that bounce at VWAP. With how heavy that dump was, though, I wonder if it's going to continue below VWAP. So I'm holding some. Got my stop loss at break even though. So even if it does continue higher, I'm still good. Still good. I know, David. That was a strong bounce at New York anchored VWAP. Let's see if it continues lower. I have my full TP set at the 15-minute opening range high at 21,889. So that's what I'm hoping it goes to. Dave is done for the day. Did you finish green, David? How'd you finish? Come on. Are we going to get continuation lower? Or is that just going to be a bounce for a move higher? I feel like if we get some momentum off of this bounce from VWAP and we get back up to initial balance high, then it could be a trend continuation and breakout. I do think so. If we get back up to initial balance high, I think I'm going to kill the failed auction idea. But for now, it looks dumpy. Looks like we could be going lower. Very nice, David. Honestly, that's really good of you to lock out and finish at break even. I think that's really hard to do. Especially if you feel like, oh, I got this now. Like I just recovered. Now I can take another trade and finish green or finish like bigger green. And then you start to overtrade and the spiral starts to get bigger and you finish red. So the fact that you can like get back to break even and lock out your platform, good for you. I think that's one of the hardest things for me to do, at least. All right, let me move these out of the way. Still kind of hovering around VWAP. Got a little bounce, but not a whole lot of continuation yet in either direction. If we can break back below this bounce that we had at 932 and like close below that, that's where VWAP is, then I think we're going lower. Starting to get some more pressure to the downside. Yeah, ha, mama, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Like if we break below VWAP, then coming down to the 15-minute opening range high, I think is a target that's fairly conservative. Like we could definitely even dump lower. But if we get back up to initial balance high, which we would be making a new high over this, then we could get a breakout continuation higher. That's why I did scale out a little bit and take some profits at VWAP on that bounce and then move my stop loss to break even. Because you're right, this could be the bounce to go higher. But if we hold below VWAP, we could be going lower too. Another possible spot for a bounce, if it does end up going lower, it could come down to this VWAP, which is right in line with Friday's point of control, and then continue higher. So that's a possibility too. If you guys are not in a trade currently, you could be patient and wait for that possibility. Just kind of playing out some scenarios. Let me pull up Bookmap. I haven't looked in a while. What's the heat map looking like? We actually have quite a few orders up at 20,020. So right above the high of the day. That's interesting. And then we have more to the downside. Nothing huge that stands out in the immediate vicinity. There's several big orders that are like way outside of current price action, but I usually don't pay as much attention to those because a lot of times those orders get pulled. Getting a little consolidation here. Let's see if this is going to be a consolidation to continue the trend lower, or if we're like holding and we're going to go higher. Let's see what happens. Starting to get a little heavy here. What are we gonna get? Starting to get heavy. Starting to get heavy. Yeah, David, it did hold the New York anchored VWAP. That's this light blue line that I have. That first bounce was pretty strong off of there. So I did take some profit there. It's coming back down to it though. So let's see if it breaks below this time. Starting to get some selling pressure for sure. kind of in that vicinity right now for VWAP. Here's what I'm gonna do. So like I said, my consistency target in this account is $900. So I'm gonna leave a runner. I'm gonna take quite a, 2 more off at the 15-minute opening range high. Maybe, if it'll let me. Maybe I need to delete this line. There we go. I'll take 2 more off there if it comes, and then leave 1 runner just to see if there's anything else to squeeze out of the trade. Move my stop loss up to that previous high. And let's see what we get. I'm gonna let this play out, you guys. I'm gonna be right back. What did I miss? Still just kind of bouncing around, huh? Oh, looks like it did break below VWAP. Let me come back to my trading view chart. So pretty strong sell-off into VWAP. Got a bounce. Let's see if we continue lower. Is anyone else sitting in this failed auction trade with me? Did anyone else get in? I guess this second round is not technically a failed auction because it didn't come all the way back up to initial balance high. I entered a little bit early on the anticipation. What's going on, G-Man? So last I heard, you were here when I took this 15-minute opening range breakout trade. I took a failed auction here, ended up getting out at break even. I got in there kind of anticipating the failed auction because it didn't officially, the 30-minute candle hadn't closed yet. I was targeting somewhere around value area high, like New York, anchored VWAP, didn't get there. So break even trade there, got in again on, I guess you can call it a failed auction, but didn't quite come up to initial balance high. The reasoning for it was this had been resistance all morning, and the buy up was kind of starting to get weaker. It had this round off, and we had made a lower low here. So it looked kind of like sellers were getting stronger, buyers were getting weaker. So I entered short on this strong 1 minute candle. And so far, so good. I trailed out, took some out at New York anchored VWAP, and have 2 more contracts set to scale out at opening range high. And then I'm leaving 1 runner in case it just gets super heavy and dumps. So that's where we're at right now. Got my stop loss set, at least in profit. So if I'm wrong and it continues higher, then I don't lose anything. Labradabber is the blue line VWAP. It's different than mine. Mine's down at the 872 area. Let me go back up. Yes, so this blue line right here, I hope you can see it. I know it's a pretty thin line. This is my session VWAP, anchored from like Sunday night open. This light blue line is anchored at the New York open. So right at the 9:30 Eastern candle. So I use both of them. Right now it's holding support at the New York anchored VWAP, but I could see this overnight VWAP being a good target if we continue short. For now though, it's holding. Looking a little bit weak, but you never know. It could go up, could go down. Right? That's super valuable advice in trading. Could go up, could go down. You never know. Honestly though, I think that is good advice in trading. Like you kind of just have to be ready to react to price and not feel like you have the ability to predict the market. In my experience, I mean, I'm still a newbie trader. Like, I don't feel like I have all the answers, but everything I've read, everything I've learned, I feel like if you think you know what the market is going to do, if that's what you have in your head, that you know the market's going to do this, then you're probably in trouble. Kadir's done for the day. Did you finish green? Was it a good day? I'm gonna do 1 at, let me delete this line. 1 at 15-minute opening range high, and then 1 at overnight VWAP, assuming we get there and I don't get stopped out. And then I'll leave 1 runner until I hit my daily profit target in this account, if that happens. If not, I'll get stopped out for $61, and I currently have a realized profit of $60, so I'll be closing this account for the day with $120 if I get stopped out, which I am okay with because I started this morning with, I think I was like $450 down, and I've taken a couple winning trades and clawed my way back, so I can feel good about that. If I finish with $120, I would be happy with that. So now that we are well into the session, a couple hours in, a lot of you guys are saying you're done for the day. Tell me in the chat, how'd you end up? Are you green? Are you red? Are you really, really green? Or just kind of green? How's your day ending up? All right, so we got that kind of consolidation, ended up holding above New York anchored VWAP. That was a pretty strong buy up there. And it looks like I'm gonna get stopped out. Or not. How funny would it be if it totally rejects from there? Which it could. Oh my goodness. It could, because this green anchored VWAP is from the high of the day. So that could be where it's rejecting and getting heavy. Okay. Let's see if we get continuation. Are we going to go down? Kadir is green 800-ish, but it was a tough day. Well, good job finishing green if it was a tough day. Stefan 200, calling it a day. Good. Lock those accounts up. Too many times for me to count. I can tell you when I call it a day, and then I come back and trade more and turn a green day into a red day. So lock your accounts. Don't do that. Don't be like that. And it almost takes like the mental pressure off. If you know your account's locked, then you can't even pull up your charts. You can't even think about it. You don't even look at it until tomorrow. It's a good feeling. Takes the pressure off. TT, good to see you. What's up? What's up? All right, so it came back up to that high of day anchored VWAP. Had a good strong rejection on the 1 minute candle. Let's see if we can get some continuation. We are kind of starting to get a little bit of a flag type of situation here. So maybe a bear flag for continuation lower, maybe. Still got to break below VWAP though, that anchored VWAP, which is currently sitting at about 836. Got to break and hold below it, not just fake out below and then bounce back up. Coming back down to VWAP again. I'm not really a bear flag or bull flag trader, so don't make fun of me for my lines. I don't take trades based off of breakouts like this. So don't judge me based on my lines. I'm kind of just noticing that there's a little bit of a consolidation move up and possible that it would be a continuation lower. But it looks like we're bouncing off of VWAP again. Kind of just starting to get choppy here. Doesn't know what direction it wants to go. Honestly, at this point, I'd be okay with getting stopped out. Like, I just want it to make some sort of decision. I can feel myself starting to get impatient with this low volume, slow movement. So I feel good, like super stress free in this trade, having my stop loss in profit and knowing that I'll finish green on the day and I'll lock my account out. I'm actually going to even do it on stream if I get stopped out. I'm going to make you guys watch me do it. Hold me accountable. But we might be getting continuation lower. Yeah, you're right. Seems like it's going sideways. So it's continuing to reject that initial balance high, which is why I entered a short again. And it made a lower low here, and now a lower low here. It's just a matter of if we're actually going to get some continuation and make another lower low. It looks like it wants to. It wants to. But that could just be me wanting it to, so I'm making it look like it wants to. You think it's gonna go up? What makes you say that? Because it has this consolidation and sellers aren't making it go lower? Or what's your reasoning, Kadir? Why do you think it's gonna go up? It's really fighting this New York anchored VWAP. It's still right there. Just flush below it. Come on. Go ahead and dump below it. Make up your mind. So at this point, I'm really glad that I'm already in a trade and I'm well enough in profit that I can keep my stop loss in profit too. So there's no risk. Because honestly, if I was at a point where I was trying to find a trade, this is that horrible PA where you can get chopped out. Are we going long? Are we going short? I don't know. Flip flop back and forth, lose a lot of money. So it's nice being able to sit in this position stress free. And honestly, I don't care if it goes up or down. If it stops me out or if it hits my target, I will be equally happy. Luna's short. Let's go. You covered all but one micro because you got scared. I took off two. Why does my top one futures Project X do that? So I was originally in 5 micros. I got out, I sold 2, or I bought 2, I guess, at this first bounce because I was a pretty strong buy up off the New York anchored VWAP. And then at that point, I moved my stop loss into profit. So holding 3, and then I'm going to scale out. This first order is right at the 15-minute opening range high. The next one is at point of control. And then from there, I'm just going to trail my stop loss and let it ride until I hit my personal daily profit target in this account, if it comes to that. We shall see. Let's go. All right, we are below New York anchored VWAP. That's what I want to see, and we're starting to hold below it. No signs of a strong bounce at this point. Come on, baby. Let's hit my next target, 15-minute opening range high. Let's get there. Target number 2, point of control from Friday. Let's go. And then from there, just continue dumping and lock me out at my daily profit target. That would just make me so happy. Shez Miguez, my profit target in these accounts is $900. Just for the math of the consistency. So these top 1 futures sim funded accounts, they have a 20% consistency rule, which I assume you know what the consistency rules mean, but basically 1 day of profits can't be higher than 20% of your total profits. So I did the math backwards. On these accounts, the max payout you can take for a $50,000 account is $2,500. So what I want to do is make $4,500 so that I can take the max payout and then leave myself a $2,000 buffer. So then I just did the math backwards. $4,500, 20% of that is $900. So my daily profit target is $900. So I lock myself out at that point. So really it depends on the account, depends on the rules, but that's why I have this one set at 900. There's others that like don't have a consistency rule or whatever, then I don't have a daily profit target lockout. $2,500 over 10 days. So I'm going for $4,500 so I can actually pull out. I can withdraw $2,500 and still have $2,000 left as a buffer to continue trading so that I don't blow the account. But yes, it needs to be, you have to trade for 10 days to be eligible for a payout on these accounts. Unless you pay, they have an additional fee that you can pay to get daily payouts, but I didn't do that. So I have to trade for 10 days. So obviously if I hit my $900 profit target, it would only take 5 days to get there. So then at that point, I would just flip my account and just trade like 1 micro for a couple minutes just to show that I traded that day. But I wouldn't necessarily be worrying about getting more profit. But that also allows me to have a couple red days in there because I'm not going to hit $900 5 days in a row perfect. That's not very likely, not realistic. That's just the absolute max I want to let myself earn in a day. It's getting slow. So now that we're holding below the New York anchored VWAP, I do feel good about it continuing lower. And I like my first target of that 15-minute opening range high because lots of reasons, honestly. It's still above that overnight VWAP. So if it's going to bounce, that is a potential good spot. So I would have taken some profit before then. And then also there's that area of resistance there. So it could possibly serve as an area of support. Get a little bounce there. So at least take some profit there. And then have another one at point of control, which is always a decent magnet for a target. And then just leave in one, like I said, Hail Mary to see how much more we can squeeze out of this trade. How long have I been able to keep them? So to be totally transparent with these top one futures accounts, I have actually reset them 3 times at this point. I haven't been trading them very well for some reason. Honestly, self-sabotage. I was so close to a payout, like 2 days away. I had already reached my consistency target. I was close. I needed like $200 more. I just lost it one day and spiraled and tilted and got way negative on my accounts. So those ones are what I'm working my way back on. I'm working my way back towards a payout with those. So looking good in terms of hitting the target. It's just going slow. It might take us a while to get there. Yeah, G-Man, it's frustrating. I was so mad at myself because I broke my own rules. I don't know why. Like, something just flipped in my head. And I moved my daily loss limit lockout that I had. Because I was like, oh, I just need a little bit more room for one more trade. And then, of course, that was a losing trade, too. And then it just spiraled. It was almost like pulling a gambling addict out of a casino. I felt so stupid that day. That's why I'm so big on setting the daily loss limit lockout feature. And then in Project X, I don't know if you guys knew this, but they actually have a little red button on the bottom. Like, once you've saved your personal daily profit target and your personal daily loss limit in the risk settings and you click save, you can scroll all the way down and there's a red button that says lock daily features or something like that. And that locks out your risk settings for the whole day. And I should have done that. Basically what that does is makes it so you can't go in and change your daily loss limit like I did. You know, like, let's say it's going to lock you out at $500 of loss and you're currently at $400 in loss and you're like, "Oh, dang, I'm going to remove it, or I'm going to give myself a little bit more so that I can just finish this one more trade." It won't let you do that. It locks it out, so you can't adjust your settings. Do that. Save yourself from yourself. All right, I'm gonna keep riding this bad boy down. I'm gonna keep riding. We're holding below this New York anchored VWAP. We got a little bit of chop here, which could give us a little bounce. Let's look at the current session volume profile here. The level that we're at currently is at the value area low for the current session. So there is a possibility for a bounce here. If we get a bounce here off of this session value area low and we start to hold back above New York anchor VWAP, I think I'm going to be quick to close it because we're not getting much continuation lower and we're starting to get into that lunch hour where price action just isn't very nice to me. I don't read it very well. So I'll sit through it for a couple more minutes. But I'm kind of feeling like I might want to just tighten my stop loss and have it, like, force it to make some sort of decision. One thing I've been trying to get better at is not continuing to trade just to hit my personal daily profit target. I've gotten myself in trouble in the past for doing that. Like, oh, I'm only up $200 and I wanted to get $900, so I'm going to keep trading, and then it turns into a red day. So I'm not going to do that today. So if it breaks below this 21,915 area, which is kind of right where that value area low is for the current session volume profile, then I could see us continuing lower. But again, it's kind of just choppy and slow, not really making a decision either way. Still holding that level. Double bottom sweep, then going up. I don't know how much I believe in a double bottom on a 1 minute. If it was on a higher time frame, I could definitely see that. It doesn't seem super valid on a 1 minute time frame. It doesn't look like it's going up right now to me. It could. I could be wrong. But that doesn't look like it's really getting momentum to the upside, in my opinion. Still holding below VWAP. It actually kind of came up, retested, and now it's rejecting again. And this level right here is that current session value area low. It's holding it for now, but if it breaks below and holds below, it could be going lower. Starting to get heavy again. All right, starting to slowly come up on my first target at that 15-minute opening range high. All right, y'all. I think what I'm going to do is just set my stop loss a little bit tighter and then just let this play out, because I don't want to sit here and stare at the screen. Because either way, like I said, if I get stopped out, I'm good. If it hits my full target, I'm good. So I don't want to sit here and stare at it. I think I'm going to call it there. That was a pretty good day today. Pretty good day. Pulled myself out of a $450 red day and ended up, even if I hit my stop loss, I'm going to be up $230. And then best case scenario, if it hits my Hail Mary target, then I'll hit my profit target for the day, 900. You don't like to move your stop loss to a previous pivot, like a previous high, like around there, 945, is that what you're saying, G-Man? Yeah, I definitely could. I guess I was just giving myself a little bit more room. But now that it's starting to get heavy, yeah, I could move it lower. For sure. Yep, just moved it. All right, y'all. I appreciate you joining me today. Good trading. If you don't mind, before you leave, if you haven't already, go hit that thumbs up button. Go like the video, and then join me again tomorrow. I'll see you guys at New York Open. All right, have a fantastic day. Talk to you later.